Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, July 21st, 2025. The time is 1 p.m. and this is the Josephine County Rural Fire Protection District Board of Directors regular meeting. Start out with the roll call. The directors present. Have Director Hauser.
Here.
Director Weidling.
Here.
Director Ownby.
Here.
Director Jones is here, and Director McGowan is excused. Staff present, we have Cassie Austin taking our minutes, and Kendra Ferguson, our legal counsel. Kendall. I almost got it all right today. All right, so if everybody would join me with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Looking for approval of the agenda as presented. Is there anything on the agenda that the board wishes to remove? I would move to approve as presented.
I'll second it.
Well,
Well,
you have to, you did a motion.
No.
Oh, I thought you were making a
Well,
motion.
do we need a motion, or just could be it could be a
The agenda is minutes.
The last 3 meetings, we've entertained a motion,
okay.
so
You want to continue with it? Okay. So I would entertain a motion then, just to be,
I'd make a motion to accept the meetings for the July 21st meeting.
Good job.
so we'll clean that up a little bit.
Move to accept the agenda.
I move to accept the agenda for today, July 21st, Board of Directors meeting.
I'll second that for you.
All right. Call the roll, please.
yes. Mr. Hauser?
Here.
Mr. Weidling?
Here?
Mr. Ownby?
Yes.
I'm gonna say Mr. McGowan.
Excused?
Okay, and Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries 4-0.
All right. So with that, then we moving on to the approval of the minutes from last meeting, and I know they were emailed out this morning. My error for not getting it out over the weekend, I got sidetracked with some other business and it did not happen. So is everybody able to read through them today? Do we have any discussion on them? I would make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Second motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
Mr. Weidling?
Yes.
Mr. McGowan?
Excused?
Mr. Ownby?
Yes.
And Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, moving on to the financial report.
Okay, I finally got a hold of Ruth Nelson. She returned from vacation Monday, and I want to sit down with her. I don't want to do it over the phone. So we made an appointment, and it's Friday, this coming Friday, 9 o'clock. I'll be sitting down. I just asked Mark if he'd like to go with me. And what I want to do is get details. The total amount of the initial grant, we know approximately what it was. Any interest that's been accrued, any other money that's come into it, and then money that's gone out, and the details for who and what for. We know we have the consultant's report, and we have the couple things like I just set us up with a post office box, and I just use my card for it, and hopefully they'll reimburse it. If they don't, it's not a big deal.
Do the reimbursement. With that, did you discuss if she, or will you discuss if she can write checks currently for us, since we do not have a bank account for those items? Like
Yes,
the
that was one of the things I have
Okay.
is that, because I remember you asked that. Yeah, to see if she can do reimbursement checks until we get a bank account set up. And if it's gonna be any cost to us, then have her do that.
And other things that would have been taken out of that, out of those funds already, would be legal
Yeah, legal fees and the special election, it was, $19,000 something for that.
Any other discussion on the financial report?
So I hope to have a thorough one with numbers next meeting.
All the numbers are perfect. All right, thank you for that. And move on to item 5 on the agenda. So public comment. We do have public comment forms back there. I did not see anybody fill out public comments, but if there are members of the public who wish to speak to the board. Anybody? Close that, since it's a quiet. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe the microphone will pick up a little better.
Yeah.
All right, so nobody present in the public that wishes to speak to the board? All right, move on, no public comment today. Old business. Moving into the item A under old business, which is the district's name. So the notifications have been posted in the newspaper.
Yes, I double checked, and the first required notice was in the paper on Friday.
Right.
Yes,
So the second notice will go in on the 29th?
correct. Yep, the courier confirmed that. So
All right.
we're on
Perfect.
schedule with that.
Perfect, and then our meeting, general meeting on August 4th, we'll have the public hearing for the name change
At 10.
at 10 a.m., yes. And everybody here so far will be able to make it on August 10th for sure.
I won't,
Or excuse me, August 4th at 10 a.m.
yeah, I'm gonna be on vacation,
Okay,
Yeah.
and so we'll,
but I'll be available by phone.
by phone.
My granddaughter will be born that morning, but I'll be here.
Oh my gosh. Maybe she'll come early like my grandson did. Okay, so any more discussion, concerns for the board on the name change? Good, all right, seeing none, we'll move on to meeting location. So, again, under ORS 478, it does state that they shall be within the district, and since our district does not incorporate the city of Grants Pass, the Merlin Community Park has agreed to allow us to use the Merlin Community Center out there. The only conflict is the first Monday of every month is the board meeting out there for the park at 5 p.m. So I know we wanted to move our meetings to 5:30. However, if we continue with them on Monday, we would have to bypass the first Mondays obviously after this August 4th meeting. But if we were to move them to 5:30, we would have to change the meeting for the first Monday of every month, time-wise, or change the day of the week.
Potentially by the time we get to that point, we
We
can look
may-
at going every 2 weeks
Right.
instead of.
Right, and we
It's
may
just-
be at that point where we'll be every 2 weeks by the Monday.
We'll make that decision as we get closer, but yeah,
Okay.
definitely
All right.
work on their schedule.
Right. So, the meeting scheduled for July 28th, which is next Monday, will be at the Merlin Community Park. And we can either keep it at 10 until we finish off the public hearing, or we can make the 28th at 5:30. It's up to the board. July 28th, you wanna keep it at 10 a.m. or do you wanna move it to the
I would say
5:30?
keep it at 10 a.m. just because that's what we had on our calendar already
Okay.
and put up there.
Okay.
That'll make sure it works for legal. I know you said you were scheduled
I
it for
will
2
be
weeks. Yeah.
gone. Bill may.
Be easier for him at 10 a.m.
Okay, Merlin, 10 a.m. through August 4th. And then Item C, under old business, insurance, SDIS has put our paperwork in underwriting. There are a few items that they do need. One of them is a TIN number. So Ralph, as the treasurer, will you be able to get us a TIN number? So
Yeah.
registering with IRS as an entity and.
Yeah, I'll work with you and
Okay.
communicate on
All
that.
right, yeah, so we'll need that as soon as possible to get that to SDIS so they can continue with the underwriting of the insurance. There were a couple of other items in there that they would also need too, but the main thing was the TIN number. Okay. And then SDAO and OFDDA memberships, both of those are in the works. OFDDA is sending an invoice for the 3125, which is the prorated amount for our first year, the remainder of this year's membership fee. SDAO is also sending an invoice. I think actually they sent the invoice and I sent that to you, I
Yeah.
believe.
Right here.
You have it for 179, which is also a prorated amount for us to be members of SDAO, and they said once they receive the payment, we will be officially a member. So,
So that's something I'll check with Ruth
if
on
Bruce
Friday.
can write that check and we can get that to them. The other option is they did give a link if we wanted to pay by card. So if Ruth is able to do that, I don't know that she would be, but that would be a faster route. But if nothing else, if we can just get the check from her, we can get that sent off, and then that'll start our membership and give us the benefits of SDAO. Okay. All right, so moving down to item E, under old business, and I'll give that to you, Ralph, since you went and took care of that.
Post office box, Vinny had checked with, downtown Grants Pass, and it was
It was 96 for. just a small
$96
one.
for 6 months for a small one. And being that we were having our meetings out in Merlin, and we had talked about checking in Merlin, I went to the post office in Merlin, it was $55 for 6 months for the same box. And the guy says it's just because the post office location's different, so, I went ahead and paid. We've got a post office box, and Mark and I have keys to it.
That
Yes.
number is?
Yeah, what is the post office
Um,
PO box?
P.O. Box 635,
635, yeah.
Merlin, Oregon, 97532. Okay, any more discussion on that P.O. Box?
Thanks for getting it.
Yes, thank you, Ralph, thanks for taking it. All right, and then phone number, I will turn over to Vinny.
So.
Excuse me, Director.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
I did get hold of Kimberly Holland, who is the rep for Southern Oregon for Verizon. She did get back to me and say that, first responder, public safety account would be $36.99 for a 2-year contract, for a month. And a 2-year contract would get us a free phone of the options that they give us, but that also includes unlimited service. So, pretty good deal. Again, she said they can't do anything until they have that federal number.
The TIN.
The TIN number, so, we did talk about options, and she just said Verizon won't recognize us or do anything until we have a federal number, so, I printed off the stuff that she sent me, promotions, and then the application. One of the options that we could do that, Kimberly and I talked about was, if we would like to secure a phone number and get something going right now, is I could add a phone to my already existing business contract. And then once we get the TIN number, we can port that over to, and I wouldn't expect any repayment from the district.
What's the, how big of a hassle is that though? Because I know that in the past, I've dealt with moving phone numbers from one entity to another, and it has been kind of cumbersome.
Well, it'd be within Verizon itself.
Right, well, even with Verizon
Yeah,
itself.
so she said it wouldn't be that difficult. Obviously, the part of it would be a financial on my business, but I don't want any kind of a payment from the district to my business, so I'd say I would throw it out there. If you want a number, we can get it,
Right.
secure it, or we could wait for the TIN and go forward that way.
So once we have a TIN though, we could get it that day, once
Correct. The only other caveat is because the district has no credit history, we may be required to put forward a,
Did she state what that would be if we?
no, she did, it's all in the application process, they look at our history and what we have going. So, we might have to pay, I can't remember the exact dollar she said, but she guesstimated it might be around $1,300. Just to secure the phone, and then
And
of
if we
course.
went through you to initiate the phone number,
Yeah,
and then
there's no-
transferred it to the
We
district
still would
later,
have to deal with
we
all
would
that,
still have
yeah.
to deal with
We're just,
possible.
we're just securing a phone number for
Okay.
use my account.
Yeah, I've done some switching in the past and it can be a pain.
Yeah.
So, the difference between the TIN and the EIN, cause I know I can secure an EIN in one day, have that
Yeah,
completed.
and we can too.
Yeah.
Yeah, TIN's the same, it's a tax identification number for the
Yeah.
district, so, it can be, it's a matter of going on and filling out the forms for IRS, and it would be printed that same day, so. It's,
I think you're gonna also need it for a bank account too,
we,
right?
yes.
Yeah, we
yes,
do. We
yes.
need it for everything.
And we need it
Yeah.
for all kinds of things. Yeah.
That form right there.
Yep. That's it.
Yep, and that can be filled out online and done quickly too, so. I would move that we wait for the TIN
Okay.
and then do the process that way, and
Okay.
if there is a,
Well, we can bring, once we have the
A
TIN, we
fee.
can bring back, if there is a fee, we'll bring it back before they make any commitments.
Well-
We can fill out the paperwork, throw it in there without a TIN, they're just gonna say, nope, nothing yet.
right,
So we don't even know that number, they may waive it, but because we're a brand new district
right,
with no credit history, they very well could say, no, we need to make sure we're secured.
right.
So,
Okay. Well, I move that we wait without objection.
yeah, I agree.
And then I had one last thing, I sent everybody a email on it, but also set up a Gmail account, and it's midroguefiredistrict@gmail.com.
All spelled out, fire district.
Yeah.
That one we don't use yet,
Yeah,
yeah.
But it's set up, it's out there.
we secured the Gmail in case I
So
get the name change.
the current email for the district, is jocorfpd@gmail.com. We'll be utilizing that one, for the time being.
Until the name change.
Yep, we gotta make sure the name change happens.
Right.
Was it Gmail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, jocorfpd@gmail.com. Okay. All right, anything else for his phone number? Moving on to new business. So entertain some committee reports, staffing, Director McGowan and Director Hauser have been working on that. Have you and Tom, I know Tom was not able to be here today, but
Yeah, no, we have not. I think we were waiting on a couple of things to be in place before we started to get any of that together.
there was, discussion last meeting. Let me see, I think I gave it to all of you in the very back. None of the minutes, but on the very back of, I gave you a form that had the agenda on it.
Last week,
No, it's this week's agenda,
it's right here.
yes.
Got it right in front of me.
Yep, and then in the back, so that was a draft form created, for a discussion that we had in regards to administrative
Oh, that's right,
assistant.
yeah.
So if you guys wanna look that over, and Roy, if that's something, is it on the back of that?
No.
No, not, that's the minutes.
Yeah.
Your
Did you
next,
get a
your-
packet
yeah, it's right
for-
there in front of you, that one, the last, no?
No.
Okay, good.
Stand by.
It's right.
Here, use this one. Sorry, this has got it. This is it right here. That's it right there. So that's a draft form that, for you and Director McGowan to discuss.
Okay.
All right, so we'll move out of the staffing committee and move to policies and procedures, which is Director Owenby and myself. And at this time, we have not discussed or planned any new policies, waiting on staffing. So, we'll bump down to communications, which is the new committee that Director Weidling and myself were in, and that's where we set up the YouTube account for live streaming. However, I didn't realize that live streaming has a 24-hour wait. So we are not live streaming today. However, we are recording to put this onto the YouTube channel, and it is at JCRFPD. So youtube.com/@JCRFPD. All right, and then communication-wise, obviously, the PO box, which is helpful, and we got the email addresses, which is what we discussed earlier. Those are secured. Anything else for communications?
Question for you on the communications.
Yes, sir.
We had mentioned about Zoom.
Yes, and that is a little bit farther down in our
Okay.
agenda today.
Okay.
All right. New committee, so moving into item 7B on the agenda. The agreement with Rural Metro states that unless a replacement agreement is executed, the parties agree that they will negotiate in good faith to execute an addendum to this amendment within 90 days after the effective date to establish fair consideration to be provided to the district for the exclusive rights granted to the service provider herein. So I believe that it would be best for us to form a consideration committee at this time, since we are only 69 days left in that 90-day period. So the committee would start discussing what those considerations look like, and what the district would be asking of Rural Metro. So do we have anybody that wants to be on that committee?
So just basically, you're saying the committee would look over, come up with that list before the 90 days?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so, there's options that we could do for that committee. Director Weidling and myself were the we were the, what was it called, Ralph, the, service
Yes.
provider committee.
Service provider committee.
We could change that committee to the consideration committee, or we could create a whole new committee.
My concern was being on a committee like that is if it get called out, not being hearing that's something that has a time date on it. So
Right.
I know McGowan, you probably too, are on the hook for call-outs for wild cards.
Yeah.
So if it goes south, then that committee's gonna be, it'd be best to keep it with you guys since you'll be local and able to meet that deadline.
So,
Just rename your committee.
without objection, then rename the committee to the consideration committee from the service provider committee. Agreed? Without objection? Okay, we'll do it that way then. All right. And that takes care of item B. So 7C, streaming the meetings. I guess I actually got ahead of that also with the communications report. So next meeting, hopefully, that will be available to the public, the streaming meeting. We'll bump down to item D, and that is the Zoom membership. So if you look also on that paper that I gave you, right behind the agenda are the pricings for Zoom. Zoom has a pro membership or a business membership. Really, the only difference between the two besides cost is the fact that with the pro, it only allows 100 people to participate in the meeting. And then with the business, it allows up to 300. That cost is per year, billed annually, so it'd be $159.96 if we went with the pro. And then that would give us the ability to have Zoom so that when there is a call out for any of the directors on the board, they can join us on Zoom and be fully present. So that's something that I would ask the board to consider so that we can move forward with Zoom. Again, it's something that can be paid for and reimbursed later if need be. So since this is an expense and we haven't really
Yeah.
made a policy on what expenses need to be motions and whatnot.
So looking at the two differences, it suggests scheduler down here.
Yes,
Do you understand what that is, or?
I wasn't able to really find what scheduler meant. I don't know if that's are you familiar with the Zoom scheduler portion at all, by any chance?
I mean, I think we don't have the business,
This,
even when working for the county, I don't think I've ever seen more than over 100 in attendance,
right,
so.
Yeah.
right, the pro seems to work fine for the counties, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion, we spend $159.96 annual for the pro Zoom, and get it set up in as soon as possible.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve the Zoom purchase of the pro. And I have a first and a second, so we'll take the roll.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Wiley,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Excused?
Mr. Owenby,
Yes.
and Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Yeah. We will,
Just different.
yes, okay, so that is the discussion that we move forward with a temporary employment for an administrative assistant. I don't know if that's something that we want to table for now, since Director McGowan is not here, and that was brought up by him. So should we table that for next meeting?
Until the next meeting.
I think it's just,
Yeah.
to wait for him.
Yes. All right, so we will table item 7E till the 28th.
Let him know we're eagerly waiting for his decision.
Okay. All right, so correspondence, and we go into item 8 on the agenda. The only email received since creating the new email account was from a manager of a local business. They reached out to inquire how to donate food to the first responders. And I referred them to Chief Prince with Rural Metro. So that was the only correspondence that we had. Moving on to item 9, additional matters of the board. Is there anything else? This is an open for the board reports, requests, or comments from the board.
Absolutely. I'd like to just take a moment with the major fire we had in our district, that started in our district and moved out to the forest lands, maybe as you'd say, to thank Rural Metro as their response and their actions saved that from coming. I duly feel it could have been a lot worse for both sides of Board Shanty, and keeping that fire channeled away from those homes. Chief Prince making the mention that I heard you on the radio doing all your things. I went to bed, got up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go pour concrete, and I hear you still on the radio doing your thing. So definitely appreciate your guys' effort and what you did out there.
Yeah, I second that to every full-time guy that's here in the room. We're all ex-firefighters up here, some are current. You guys did a great job. Hats off.
Yeah, I'd like to see a few more resource calls to our business, though.
Well, that'd be ODF that makes
Yeah.
the request.
State Fire.
Yeah.
We were actually very lucky to have the Grizzly Complex resources so quick to respond. That's a benefit that we don't normally.
Yeah, that's funny because we were demobed that morning to Hagglestein, and then Port Shanny broke out.
You know.
Yeah.
Is that why it didn't go conflagration, just because it had such
Well,
a good response?
The factors that we made to the decisions that we did have, that we did make, was that we were looking at terrain, wind factors, the direction of travel the fire was going, and with the significant amount of resources, both through the fourth alarm request of the Rogue Valley and the amount of stuff coming in from the complex, felt pretty comfortable to just hold out, but I did have the state fire marshal right there asking if we were ready to call for it. And we could have made at least the, what they call the immediate response, which is automatically 2 strike teams out of neighboring counties if we needed it. But we just kind of played it out.
There's a
And
lot of land.
it was a gamble. You could call it and
Yeah.
always return it, but I thought, well, we got a lot of stuff. Let's give it a chance to run its course, and the hours, and then we were going into nightfall, which, as everybody knows, after we lose the sun, we lose some of that activity, and it did play out that way. So we were lucky, but didn't need it.
Yeah, I went down to Hidden Valley Market, and then Mark and I were kind of communicating back and forth just to watch, and the amount of rotor wing aircraft that was on that thing so fast, it was amazing. And I don't know where the fixed wing come out of California, because I don't think there was any.
It was
in that-
ordered from a number of places.
Yeah,
At one time, I believe they put in a request for like 4 VLATs that, I don't think they could
Yeah, I don't
fill
think
that.
Merlin didn't have them staged there.
Well,
No,
Merlin
they
would have
would-
only had our normal,
Yeah.
type 2,
Yeah.
but,
The VLATs would come out of.
But
they
they
were
had
coming
to-
from a number of different places, but they weren't able to fill them all.
yeah,
I
that-
don't even know what the total count was, we ended up in the air, but,
At one time on the radio, I believe I heard there were 5 air tankers.
yeah, I think there were
and
eventually.
there was at least a dozen helicopters.
It was impressive, yeah. We were lucky to have a fire within this district with that type of stuff in the backyard.
Resources.
Yeah.
How did the spot fires on Greens Creek side, never really did hear a lot with those?
No, they caused a little bit of anxiety from the people in that drainage looking back up to see it, because as we were starting to see nightfall, those additional spots below the edge of the fire that they'd been watching made for concern, but we had ground units and aircraft that were
Good.
saying, we're good. It's well within the catchable parameters of the road system that they were currently working off of. So it was good, but it was highly visible.
Yeah.
Very, it was a spectator event for a lot of people, so.
I did
Community communication was extremely important.
Yes. I did hear that there were a few residents on the Fort Shanny area that had some Caterpillars that do deserve some big thanks.
Yes.
Because they were able to get out and start cutting some line.
I walked in from the North Applegate side of Port Shanny, looking for spots, and I ran into one of those private dozers. Actually was one of the local residents, and he passed by me, and I knew that he would not have comms, and the possibility of him going into a fire area, and with an unpredictable wind shift, we could have had a problem there. But I kind of put the trust in the guy, probably knows what he's doing, and I was hoping for the best. Later on, as I never saw him again, I found that he added on 2 more, so 2 more additional people came in and teamed up with him. So we had 3 private dozers that cut in line along the south end of that. And they probably had a lot to do with that flank being successful for tie-in. So I have intentions of going and following up, because I do know one of the guys out there that he had a water truck that kind of knows, he's a local, Ricky Brown. He's a local out there that kind of knows those folks. I want to try to hunt him down and recognize the effort, even though it was like not inside of the IAP,
Right.
But we just have to be careful with independent action that we don't have any control over, but
Right.
the end result was good. So,
Talk to Brett. Talk to Brett
Brett knows.
Provost.
Right, he is a relative of the
Cousins,
guy.
yes.
Yes, he is. That's true.
So, yeah.
Of 2 of them.
Thank
Nutshell,
you for that recognition.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's some effort on the side of citizen alert that needs better campaigning, so that people know how that process works a little better, but it wasn't for a lack of it being done, because I called for that really early in the alarm levels to put a level 2 into play through the emergency manager, and it actually got done right away. Whether or not it was as effectively received is all dependent on whether or not these people have signed up their cell phones, because it's an automatic dial into the phone lines, landlines, but that landline is kind of an old school concept to a lot of
Yeah.
people. And if you've moved and you were previously living in that area, which we had one customer that had called in, now lives out in the Redwood area, but got the alert, probably because they hadn't changed their address. So there's a lot of little working snafus there that I think could be improved upon, but expect to deal with those in an after-action review.
Thank you. Any other additional matters from the board? Nothing? All right, seeing none, we'll move into a quick recess. It is currently 1:37 PM. We will recess till 1:42 PM, and then we will end up in executive session. Thank you all. And for those watching this on our YouTube channel later, sorry that it wasn't live streamed, but hopefully the 28th will be. So please check